What's up, Canuck fans? Welcome to the Line Change, a Vancouver Canucks podcast, which is a proud presentation of DraftKings Sportsbook, as well as a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, every team, everywhere. More trade talk. This time, we're hearing a report from former NHL goaltender and former Canucks goaltender, for that matter, Kevin Weeks, that the two likely destinations for Evander Kane is either the Dallas Stars or the Colorado Avalanche, two teams that are essentially a lock to be in the playoffs this year. Now, either of these teams could probably use a guy like Kane in their lineup come playoff time, as Kane has shown that he can be relied upon and quite the playoff performer, something he's obviously not going to get the chance to do here in Vancouver. Let's take a look at the article that talks about this. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up right now. This, of course, comes to us, yes, via Kevin Weeks, but this article was written by David Quadrelli, Quads, friend of the podcast, and he goes on to say the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche are among the likely trade destinations for Vancouver Canucks forward Evander Kane, according to a report from NHL Network's Kevin Weeks. Weeks posted the following to X on Friday afternoon. Per multiple sources, I'm told the Dallas Stars and Avalanche are among the likely destinations for Canucks forward Evander Kane via potential trade. Like most Canucks, Kane, who's 34 years old, has had a bit of a disappointing campaign to this point. Through 49 games, Kane has 9 goals and 14 assists. The Canucks acquired Kane over the offseason in a trade with the Edmonton Oilers, sending a 4th-round pick back the Oilers' way. Kane played some great hockey over his 4 seasons with the Oilers, though he missed the entire 24-25 regular season due to injury. Through 161 regular season games with the Oilers, Kane amassed 62 goals and 49 assists. He added 26 goals and 16 assists across 68 playoff games during his time in Edmonton. It makes sense that a team would want Kane, who put up 12 points in 21 playoff games for the Oilers just last season, on their roster as they prepare for the gauntlet that is the Stanley Cup playoffs. It also makes even more sense why the 32nd ranked Canucks would want to continue to stockpile future assets as they navigate their current rebuild and look to offload pending UFAs such as Evander Kane. This season, the Canucks have already dealt Captain Quinn Hughes to the Minnesota Wild and more recently shipped off forward Kiefer Sherwood to the San Jose Sharks for 2 second-round picks. As a result of these trades, the Canucks currently have 2 picks in both the first and second rounds of the 2026 NHL draft. Could the Canucks convince a team to cough up a second-round pick in the Kane trade, especially if they offer to retain on his $5.125 million cap hit? That remains to be seen, but we'll now be keeping a close eye on the Avalanche and Stars as potential landing spots, along with the LA Kings, who were reported to be interested in Kane as of last week. So there you go. Now let's dive into it a little more, especially after Quads brought up Vancouver retaining salary, and with these two teams being the likely destinations, we're going to take a look at both of these teams' cap situation, starting off by looking at the Colorado Avalanche's cap situation. So as you can see here, Colorado Avalanche currently have $1.7 million in cap space currently. Their deadline cap space will be at will be about just, half over 3.3 million come the deadline. That isn't enough for them to absorb the entirety of Evander Kane's contract, which is, as we mentioned, 5.125. So if a trade between the Avalanche and the Canucks were to occur, the Canucks would have to retain salary in a deal. Now, I know when us Canuck fans hear the words retain salary, we get a little spooked because of, the OEL retention. Everyone obviously remembers Louis Eriksson and that whole debacle. But remember, Kane is in the final year of his deal, and this won't be a very long retention. And at this point, if it just means getting Kane off the books, I'm game for the Canucks retaining on his salary just to ship him off. Now, before we continue, and get into the Dallas Stars' cap situation, shall we? Or no, before we get into the Dallas Stars' cap situation, I'd like to thank my primary sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. So big thank you and shout out to DraftKings. Never experienced the jaw-dropping moments that make hockey? Hockey? Well, you can experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through per wager may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025, all rights reserved. I'd like to thank my secondary sponsor, none other than Gassy Jack Art, maker of this amazing artwork you see right here in front of you, and you guys can check them out yourselves at gassyjackart.com. All right, let's dive right back into looking at the Dallas Stars' cap situation. As you can see here, the Dallas Stars currently have $3.2 million in cap space as of right now. Although they're technically over the cap only by a little over $1 million. So much like with Colorado, Vancouver would still need to retain if he were to be dealt to Dallas. Again, if it means just getting rid of Kane, just freaking do it. I gotta admit, it would be interesting to see Kane suit up for the Dallas Stars, especially when it comes to a playoff run. Of course, the Stars and the Oilers met in the playoffs last season, in particular the Western Conference Finals. Kane, of course, being a part of that for the Oilers. Would also be interesting to see Kane even suit up for the Avalanche, as they already have a stacked roster. And, well, the Avs have been one of, if not the best team in the entire league this season, as they have just been a wagon and could very well be the early favorites to win the Stanley Cup this year. So why not boost that even more by adding a playoff performer like Evander Kane, which brings us to just what could we get in return from either of these teams? Would either of these teams be willing to part with a second-round pick, like was mentioned in the article? Probably not likely. Actually, Colorado, and we're actually just going to bring this up right here, Colorado doesn't even have picks in the first 3 rounds of this year's draft. So they don't have a first-round pick, they don't have a second-round pick, and they don't have a third. But they do have 2 fourth-round picks. Perhaps they'd be willing to part with one of those. Dallas, however, does have both their second and third-round picks. They do not have their first-round pick. So could they part with either of those? I don't know. Would you think either of these teams would want to try and add a sweetener to the deal, like maybe a prospect? I doubt it. Honestly, I think if a Kane trade happens, the Canucks are more likely to get draft picks or capital as opposed to a prospect like what they got with Kiefer Sherwood and Quinn Hughes. But again, that's just me. Go ahead and sound off in the comments below. Where do you think that Evander Kane is going to land? Will it be either Colorado or could it be Dallas? And do you think we could maybe get a sweetener or like a player in return? Again, I more so think the Canucks are likely to get a draft pick, like a 1-for-1, one and done, and that's it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. A quick shout out and thank you to my sponsors once again, DraftKings, and Gassy Jack Art. And also, if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. Go ahead and check out our official merchandise store. We are currently selling our 1-year anniversary collection, as we are, of course, rapidly approaching our 1-year anniversary at the end of February. And it has a completely redesigned logo, both in blue and Canucks blue and green, as well as our skate version of the logo. And even I have to admit that black skate hoodie looks absolutely crisp, as does the white one. So go ahead, check it out. TheLineChangePodcast.threadless.com. We have some sales going on, so go ahead and check those out as well. Also, if you want to have more discussions and conversations such as like this one, feel free to join our official Discord. There's a link to it in the description down below. It's completely free to join, so go ahead and do that if you so wish to do so. You can also find and interact with us on social media. We're everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, even Blue Sky. Feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. Speaking of platforms, if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow, as well as rate and review us on either platform, which is, of course, greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the podcast. Something else that also really helps out the podcast, if you have a favorite episode that you just want to either watch or listen to over and over again, or even share with your friends, go ahead and download your favorite episode on either platform. That too also really helps out the podcast and is, of course, very greatly appreciated. Now, that's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, go Canucks, go.